Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:02. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in this very steamy studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
It's a little toasty.
It is. Yeah. Well, you know what? It's humid. It's the humidity.
Humid,
yeah, that's what's kind of driving the forces here. So.
Yep.
Pete tells me that the air conditioning really starts to kick in later in the morning, which doesn't do us a whole lot of good at 6 a.m. But
right.
It is what it is. I did open the windows, so now my allergies are going to start, kicking up because I got the windows open.
Oh, I know. Me too.
So
trust me, I know.
We're just going to kind of muck through this. But anyway, so Pedro, how are things going? So we did a best of show last week.
Yes.
So I just have to say that thank you for doing that. I asked Pete if he would play the anniversary edition of...
I had to go back and find it.
I know, and I couldn't give you the exact date on that because I couldn't find the email that went back and forth with
I did.
former Mayor Knapik.
That's how I found it.
Well, I've been trying to get a lot of my old emails erased and, deleted. Mm-hmm. So, and I knew about what it was because it was an anniversary edition. So I knew it was
right.
sometime in June or, early July. But anyway, we had former Mayor Dan Knapik on because last year for our 5-year anniversary, I asked Dan to come on the show and, just kind of talk about how we all got started and, community radio started back up. Because
how this craziness continued.
It did, exactly. And so, you know what? It was so much fun to listen to that. It was really fun, Pete, listening to it while I was lying in bed on Wednesday morning last week. It was really
Lucky
great.
you.
I know. It was really
and
fun.
I still had to come in because I had Joe Didi's show last week. So
I know.
I come in a little later.
Yeah. So you got a
I
little
woke
extra
up,
time.
I started your show remotely, and
Yep.
then I went back to bed for about an hour.
Yeah, well, that was good.
It was
That
helpful,
worked.
yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. So it was fun to hear about Dan's background because I had forgotten. We covered a lot of ground on that interview and talked a little bit about how he got from college to the mayor. That's
Sure, yeah.
and sort of everything in between, and then of course what he's doing now out on the Cape. So that was a great show.
Yeah, I have to
and just a
contact
lot of
him
fun.
because I'm going out. That's where I'm going for vacation.
Yeah.
Actually, in his jurisdiction. So
Oh, nice.
So we're going to lunch. So at one of those days.
Absolutely. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, so what have you been up to, Pete? I just feel like the days are all blending together. The weeks are blending together.
A lot of work here. Been crazy.
A lot of meetings.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. This every night.
Wow.
Every night. Even Monday night. My son's birthday was Sunday. I got held over at Mount Holyoke College with my part-time job until 7, so we had plans and we couldn't do that because I got held over. And then so we had dinner at my brother's, but still I had to do a police commission meeting from my brother's house.
Oh wow! Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Like I got to contact Mark St. Jean about covering while I'm away because
Yeah.
I don't want to be doing that every night while I'm away.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, and a lot of the boards and commissions are making up for lost time. Some of them didn't meet.
But
A
now
lot
they're
of us
just in a
didn't
regular
meet.
cycle.
Yeah.
And some of them can't take a break over the summer, like planning board, like zoning board
Yep.
of appeals. Those things can't wait.
Right.
They have to be on a regular schedule.
Yep. People have, they're looking for permission to do things and projects, and everything gets held up if they don't meet.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and then even school committee's got a special meeting this week again.
Yep.
About something. I can't remember what they were talking about, but it was something. And then regular business city council, L&O is meeting this week.
Yep.
I saw on the I check the calendar now daily
Yes.
to see who's posted an agenda, because whether they contact Karen Fannion to get a meeting or not,
Yep.
I still have to figure it out.
Yeah, I just, I've gotten to the point where I just CC everything on my meeting stuff. You and Lenore and
Right.
Karen and Donna Roy and I figure, well, I'm just gonna hit everybody, and so everybody knows this is
Yep.
this is what we need to do. But
Yep.
yeah, my board traditionally has never taken a break over the summer. We just I try usually. I try to keep the meetings shorter over the summer, although, right now that's not really working that well. I mean, there's just a lot to cover. There are a lot
Sure.
of decisions that have to be made. And, yeah, I'm sure the school committee is, going crazy over here trying to figure out what to do, how to do it. Lots of planning involved.
Yeah, and there's stuff that's time sensitive for them too.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
same thing.
Exactly.
Yep. So yeah,
Okay.
and so my girlfriend's mom passed away on Sunday,
No,
and
I'm sorry to hear that.
so now I'm trying to figure that out and help her and see what she needs for support and work on the other stuff. And
And, it'd be
I got a freelance gig for Southwick because they're doing. Southwick starts their drive-in movie series
Ah,
this week. I think it's Friday night.
okay.
At the Motocross 338, and
Okay.
Joe Didi has literally built a 35-foot wide screen
Wow.
on the back of his truck,
What?
so he can go anywhere with
Oh,
it.
my
Yes.
goodness. Oh, my
So they're gonna do some
goodness.
there. They're gonna do some at Westfield River Brewing, and I think they're gonna do some over at the Wally Fields too.
Wow. So, we really probably should shout out to Joe Didi, because Joe's, just kind of a quiet guy, but he has really stepped up to the plate during this pandemic.
Oh, even
Just
before that,
yeah, I mean, he's always
with the
been
Westfield
that.
Civic Association.
Yeah, but I think that, he's kind of in the limelight now, just in terms of what he's done. I feel like he's gone above and beyond. We're really excited. Joe will be at the Westfield Senior Center tomorrow for our Moolicious ice cream splurge, curbside ice cream splurge. So
He
you do
loves
have
stuff
to,
like that.
you do have to have a reservation for that. That one sold out, Pete, in less than a half an hour.
I believe that.
Crashed our phones. It was hysterical. But anyway,
I always told you needed more lines when I was programming your phones, but no, nobody believed me.
Yeah, we have been having phone issues. So for those who are listening, if you've tried calling in, poor
And the
Mary
phone lines are
Lou.
jammed?
Mary Lou was ready to take her phone and throw it right out the window. I think Rick Stark was there yesterday and decided, because I was trying to figure out, is it the system or is it the actual hardware? Our phones, are they old and we need to get rid of them? And I think Mary Lou's, we're not sure what it is, because I think Rick brought her a new phone in, and that's not working either.
It's
So
probably the programming for the line.
I don't know.
I wish they. Well, it's been a while since I've done that, but I
Yeah.
could probably get them through some of that.
Yeah,
I
maybe talk them through it.
still remember some of that stuff.
Yeah. She's my program director. She kind of needs a phone, so we're throwing her all over the place and saying, okay, use the phone here, use the phone there.
Well, I know the programming for the senior center was complicated because you're one of the few departments that actually answers the phone.
Right, we do. We absolutely do. The only time we don't answer the phone is at night when we are
Right,
closed
exactly.
down. Yes,
Yep.
you're right. Absolutely, we do. We
Yep.
do that.
I remember that.
Yep, and I think that's really important. I think the seniors just have such a hard time with trying to contact agencies where there's not a person to direct them to answer the phone and then get them to the right person that they need to talk to. They have hearing issues. They have some of them have visual issues, and it's just such a hassle for them. And that was, I am firm on that. It's like they have got to talk to when they call in, during regular business hours, they need to talk to a person.
Yep, I remember that.
Unless it's in the middle of a snowstorm or something like that. But, other than that, they
Right.
need to talk to us. So, all right, Pete. So it is July 22nd. So we need to do a couple of we have plenty of famous birthdays today, but we need to at least start with a few of them so that we can, have our music ready for this the first couple of breaks. So July 22nd is the birthday of musician, songwriter, record producer Daniel Jones. He was born on this date in 1973 in Essex, England, making him 48 years old today. Daniel Jones is best known for being a member of the successful Australian pop duo Savage Garden. The other half of the pair, Darren Hayes, wrote the lyrics and melodies and performed most of the vocals, while Jones provided instrumental backing. Hayes and Jones wrote and performed all of their own music and had a global hit with Truly Madly Deeply in 1998 and I Knew I Loved You in 2000. Travel strain and other issues began to take their toll on Jones, and the duo split up in 2001. After Savage Garden split, Jones launched his own production company and a recording studio to work with various new, young Australian artists. So happy 48th birthday to Daniel Jones. And we'll do one more singer-songwriter before we go on to other things.
Okay.
It is the birthday of Rick Davies, also singer-songwriter, born July 22nd, 1944 in Swindon, United Kingdom. He is 76 years old today. Rick Davies is best known as founder, vocalist, and keyboardist of the rock band Supertramp.
Okay.
Davies is their only consistent member and has composed some of their best-known songs. He is generally noted for his rhythmic blues, piano solos, jazz-tinged progressive rock compositions, and cynical lyrics. Supertramp's biggest hit, The Logical Song, was released in March of 1979. It was written primarily by the band's Roger Hodgson, who based the lyrics on his experiences being sent away to boarding school for 10 years. Hodgson said that the song's meaning, The Logical Song, was born from my question about what really matters in life. We go from the innocence and wonder of childhood to the confusion of adolescence that often leads to the cynicism and disillusionment of adulthood. In The Logical Song, the burning question that came down to its rawest place was, please tell me who I am. So, of course, we'll listen to The Logical Song a little bit later, this first hour. So those are our first couple of birthdays that we have. As I said, we have a lot more. I should also mention that today we'll do National Day too before we take a break. So July 22nd, today is National Hot Dog Day. So, oh, you know what? That's what I should have for dinner tonight. I was thinking of what to have for dinner tonight, and while I was putting this together over the weekend, I thought, it's National Hot Dog Day. My family loves hot dogs.
I'll go radical and have a kielbasa dog.
Well, here you go. So I'm going to give you a little history, Pete. So you should know some solid trivia about hot dogs, including knowing that the term itself was derived in the 19th century at a time when German immigrants brought their own culinary traditions with them to the New World. It's believed they brought to New York America's first hot dogs, originally referred to as Dachshund sausage, for their long shape that resembled the beloved Dachshund pups. Around 1870, Charles Feltman, a German immigrant, began to sell hot dogs out of a stand on Coney Island. He sold over 3,600 frankfurters in a bun that year alone. While we cannot be completely sure how or even when National Hot Dog Day was created, we do know that the day was created as a nod to National Hot Dog Month in July by the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council to highlight this fan favorite. So it's amazing to me that we have a council called the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council.
We have a council for everything.
Apparently so. Hot dogs became a household name in the late 19th century when casual food lover and baseball team owner of the St. Louis Browns, better known to some as the St. Louis Cardinals, Chris Von de Haa, brought the two together at his own amusement park. So that's how we started baseball and hot dogs. Celebrating this day is fairly straightforward, folks. Just make your hot dog your way and enjoy it however you'd like. Honestly, in the dog days of summer, who doesn't like a hot dog with all their favorite fixins?
There you go.
There you go. So happy National Hot Dog Day. Excuse me. All right. So it is 6:14. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We're going to listen to Savage Garden in honor of the birthday of Daniel Jones, singing their big hit, Truly, Madly, Deeply.
I'll be your dream, I'll be your wish, I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need. I love you more with every breath, truly, madly, deeply do. I will be strong, I will be faithful, 'cause I'm counting on a new beginning, a reason for living, a deeper meaning, yeah. And I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me. And when the stars are shining brightly in the velvet sky, I'll make a wish, send it to heaven, then make you want to cry. The tears of joy for all the pleasure and the certainty that we're surrounded by the comfort and protection of the highest powers. In lonely hours, the tears devour you. And I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me. Oh, can you see it, baby? You don't have to close your eyes, just standing right before you. All that you need will surely come. I'll be your dream, I'll be your wish, I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need. I'll love you more with every breath, truly, madly, deeply do. I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me. I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. I want to live like this forever, until the sky falls down on me.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and Pete Coles is in the studio with me this morning he's in his secluded glass booth over there, so
Yes.
I can see him, but we are definitely physically distanced apart. So a couple of, just to let you know what's happening this morning, our second hour, my guest will be Renee Ricks. Renee is a local yoga instructor. I don't think that's her primary career job, but she certainly has. I think she's transitioning to that as she's getting a little bit older, and she's done a lot of classes at the senior center, but not just ours. I think she's also done classes at other senior centers, and she's doing some Zoom classes. She will be doing some cable Channel 15 classes for us starting in August. So anyway, Renee will be here. We're going to talk about yoga and who can do yoga and why should people do yoga. What are the physical and the psychological and the emotional benefits, and do you have to be able to twist your body into a pretzel in order to do yoga? So we're going to learn all about it. Renee will be joining us.
Didn't look like it for the stuff we've been
Second
seeing.
hour.
so-
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I don't think you have to, but of course, there are a lot of misnomers. There are questions about, is it religiously affiliated and things like that. So we're going to get the whole scoop on that from Renee, starting at 7 o'clock this morning, and then following my program, starting at 8 o'clock, Harry Rock will be here with Rock On Westfield.
I believe he has Rick Sullivan, Pete Miller, and somebody else. I can't remember who else he's
Wow.
got. He's got talking about economics, the impact
Great.
of COVID and economics in the area.
Yes. And speaking of that, to give a little preview for what's happening senior center style next month, we too are going to be focusing. We'll have an educational program that Pete's working with us on our Tuesday afternoon Council on Aging Presents series that Harry Rock hosts for us. And we also are going to be focusing on some financial issues during COVID and, retirement planning. How do you plan for retirement when you're in the middle of a pandemic? So, but people need to do that. And how do people maybe change things?
I think that's
in their
slated to record on
retirement?
the 27th.
Yes.
So it's Rick Sullivan, President and CEO of the Western Mass Economic Development Council.
Yep.
Pete Miller, Westfield Community Development Director, and Kate Phelan, Executive Director of the Westfield Chamber.
Perfect.
All
So
in
that
by
should
Zoom.
that should be really an interesting interview. So that
That may go a little bit longer than an hour.
Yeah, it sounds it sounds like they have a lot to talk about.
They do.
So we will make sure that we finish exactly on time and not 1 minute later for Harry. So that's what's coming up there. I was reading this piece. Oh, by the way, Pete, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned before we were talking about Southwick and their movie theater, drive-in movie. How did it go? How has it been going with in Westfield? Have they done 2 now drive-in movies?
Yes, I think they said they were getting 100 or better cars. Yeah.
Nice.
That's a lot of people.
It is. Good. Because I think now they've done 1 in
2.
June and 1 in July,
Yep.
right? Do you know what movie? I have no idea what movies they showed. Do you know?
The first one was Secret Life of Pets 2.
Yep.
I don't know what the second was. I can't
Okay.
remember.
Okay. And then I think they have one planned for August. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Joe's got like 10 or something. They're
Yeah.
going to cram them in.
Wow.
Friday and Saturday nights, I guess.
Wow. You know what? I think it's great that people are just thinking outside of the box and, going
Well, they're
for it.
going back. I find it funny
Yes.
that there's people that want to wipe out all of our traditions and everything.
Yep.
But yet the traditions are saving us during this pandemic where we have to be close-knit again.
Yes.
And going back to all those old things are the things that are saving us and saving our sanity. And people wanted to wipe those out.
Isn't that interesting, Pete? Isn't that
I
interesting?
find it a paradox.
It is. You know what? What people are starting to do as well, which I think is it's exactly what you're talking about. Kind of going back is, when I was a kid, we used to periodically, probably 3 or 4 times a year, Sunday afternoon, you'd throw everybody in the car. We'd go take a drive.
Yep.
You would just get in the car and go someplace that, just drive out into the country or, go.
I've been doing that almost since the beginning of the pandemic.
Isn't that great?
Just to relieve some stress.
Yes. Yes.
I don't get out. Maybe I'll use a bathroom along the way, but that's about it. Don't get out. Don't interact.
Yep.
It's social distancing at its finest. I did that with my girlfriend on Friday.
Did you?
We went to dinner, and she's been going through all the stress and everything because her mom was real sick.
Yes.
And I'm like, we went to dinner, and then I'm like, let's just go for a drive. We went up into Sunderland and just kind of came back through 116 and showed her the sights, and she was like, this is just so relaxing.
It's funny that you said that, Pete, because yesterday was actually the anniversary of Gary's dad's had passed away 7 years ago yesterday, and he and our next door neighbor, who it will be 87 next week, so we are very close. And Gary and Norm went for a drive. Norm is originally from Huntington.
Okay.
Grew up there, got
so y'all
married.
went west.
Yeah, so they went. Norm invited Gary to go blueberry and raspberry picking. Just the two of them.
Okay.
Went up there to Norm's old stomping ground. Gary said he had never done that before. He said it was so wonderful and just as you said, Pete, kind of so relaxing. And he said after they did that, Norm drove. So they went just all around his old stomping ground, and he showed him, the house he grew up in. And Gary said we were way out. I mean, they went beyond Huntington and wherever the heck they were. And Gary said it was when I got home last night and I said, well, how's your day? He said it was so great. He said it on so many levels. He said just to be out in the country, we're up in the hill towns. Gary said I was in places I've never been to before, even though they're, less than an hour from our house. And he said, and for Norm, it was kind of this going back and, just sort of, it was a life review in real time. It was really revisit instead of just talking about it. He would drive down a street. Well, that's where his wife Sandy grew up. And, this is where Gary said it was just absolutely one of the best days he's had in such a long time.
Sure.
So I think you're right, Pete. I think sort of going back to some of those things, some of those traditions that we did pre-COVID, technology,
before our lives got real busy.
Yeah, before life got busy and complicated and crazy. And you're right. I think, if nothing else, what the pandemic has forced us all to do is to just kind of take a step back and,
know your neighbors, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing. I think Harry Rock and I were talking about that, that people are walking more. We see a lot more families walking. Gary and I do, a lot of walking, and we're in neighborhoods now. We used to go to Ashley Reservoir all the time, and, now I've been walking and running in the neighborhoods just, near the house. I get my 4 miles in, my 5 miles in, whatever. But now we're starting to see the same people, and, now we're starting to know, and people are stopping us and just, we're on one side of the street, they're on the other. And, it's kind of like, oh, well, where do you, what street do you live on? Or which house are you in? So we're kind of putting people with their homes,
Yeah, sure.
Just really taking notice of people's yard work and landscaping, because a lot of people have spent a lot of time working on their yards and their gardens.
There's that, yeah.
Yeah. So, just kind of reconnecting that way. On my run now, on my Saturday or Sunday morning run, I have there's a gentleman who frequently is out on his porch having his morning coffee, when I run. So we've really started to strike up this, as I'm running by, this very brief conversation. But his yard is absolutely beautiful. And so
I wish I had time for that.
I know. Not everybody does. But anyway, so I think you're right, Pete. I think there's kind of this going back and taking a breath and just sort of, doing some of the fun things like drive-in movies and, rides in the car to places that are just kind of
all
out
the drive-in
in the country.
movies. All the drive-in movies who have existed to this day go, well, I told you so.
I know. And I can remember we had a whole, that going back to, we were talking before about Dan Knappich and when we first started the radio show. And I remember that first summer, kind of right after you joined, that, we were talking about drive-in movies, and you were pretty knowledgeable about drive-in movies that have sort of withstood the test of time.
I try to go to Northfield every year.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, and I remember
they're back open again.
I can remember saying, Pete, I didn't really even realize there were any drive-in movies open, and you said, oh yeah.
Yep.
They're kind of few and far
between. I think there's one on the Cape too that I wouldn't mind going to.
That would be fun.
While we're down there.
Yeah, when you're down there, that would be a lot of fun. That would be great. All right. It is 6:29. When we come back, we'll do plenty more birthdays because we have lots of them. But we're going to listen to The Logical Song by Supertramp. And this is in honor of the birthday of Rick Davies. You're listening to WSKB
Oh, wait a minute, hold on.
89.5. Okay.
They're
that's
opening
fine.
this weekend, Friday and Sunday. They're playing Jumanji in Greece.
Oh, okay. Is that the one out on the Cape?
No, that's
Oh.
Northfield.
Oh, Northfield.
Yeah, just about
Do
an hour
you-
up the road.
Do you know?
And they're doing a Blake Shelton concert that they're going to be able to broadcast live on Saturday night in the drive-in.
You know what was so funny though, Pete? The first time I ever saw the movie Grease was at a drive-in.
Well, there you go. You can revisit it this
Oh
weekend.
my gosh, how fun would that be?
There you go. You can
All right.
revisit this weekend.
Okay, and that's up in Northfield?
Yep,
Northfield.
Jumanji, obviously, with The Rock and Grease, the original Grease.
How fun. Oh my gosh, we might have to do that. All right, 6:30, you're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. This is Supertramp and The Logical Song.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical, and all the birds in the trees, well, they be singing so happily, oh, joyfully, oh, playfully, watching me. But then they sent
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donuts shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and Pete Coles is in the studio with me this morning. And at a little after 7 o'clock, we'll have Renee Ricks, who is a local yoga instructor, with us. We're going to be talking all about yoga and how you can do it and how you can do it at home during this COVID-19 pandemic. I do, Pete, want to do a shout out. You know, we just did a little thing about Harry Rock, because Harry Rock's show, Rock on Westfield, will be coming up after mine at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
You know, I really want to shout out to Harry. Most of you know Harry as being, well, obviously the former director of the YMCA here in Westfield, although I was not working when Harry was director of the YMCA.
I don't think I was either.
I think
It
he
might
had
have just been
already,
the tail end.
he had already left the Y, and I think was over at Springfield College, and which is ironic because I
where
came
you
from
came from,
Springfield
yeah.
College, so we kind of flip-flop. I was teaching there and then came to take the job at the Council on Aging, but of course most people I think know Harry from the 350th as
Correct.
the person who, you know, with the facilitator, the coordinator, the chief Pumbaa of the.
I think he
of
says
the
a quiet
350th.
prayer every day that happened last year and not this year.
Boy, don't you know it, for sure. But you know what, I just wanted to say, Harry has, that's how I got to really know Harry, was through the 350th and obviously through WSKB and our radio shows. But, you know, he has been such a blessing to the Council on Aging. I invited Harry after the 350th was over to.
You're not doing anything anymore?
Right. So we recruited him for the board. He's a board member now of the Friends of the Westfield Senior Center, and has become increasingly involved with, you know, Senior Center and volunteering for us and helping us out. So as I mentioned,
He enjoys hosting those shows.
he is
really
just
does.
wonderful. So
I called him and I said, listen, I could probably do this, and it's better if it's conversational instead of just a straight presentation.
yeah. Well, first of all, thanks to both of you, Pete, because that was not my vision when we started this, but I think that
I think you wanted a straight presentation like
Right.
you normally would, but
right. But your idea
it doesn't work that
was-
way without an audience.
No, your idea was so much better, kind of doing it interview style. And
Yeah,
I think you're right,
conversational, yeah.
having somebody else host it so that you can just do the camera work and kind of be behind the scenes. So Pete had invited Harry to come down, and the first person that we did that with, that was back in May, was Rock Palmer, who had made the mistake a year ago of volunteering to do any kind of educational presentation that I wanted.
and it was very timely, too.
It was awesome. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, we have to get something on Channel 15. And I really wanted to do something educational. And so that was, you know, it's funny how these things just develop, but that kind of morphed into, you know, this monthly educational series that Harry now hosts for us. And he is just so gracious about doing that. And then last week,
Well, it's taking the place of your lunch and learns and things like that.
exactly, that's exactly what it's taking the place of,
Yeah.
is the lunch and learn. And I like the schedule that we have now. So Pete runs it every Tuesday afternoon at 2:45. So it's not like, oh gee, I missed, you know, I wanted to hear that program on nutrition and I missed it last week. You know, you have like 4 or 5 chances throughout the month.
Right,
So
and
that's
also,
really great.
if you're technologically inclined, you can just watch it on YouTube at your convenience, too.
There you go. Now, if somebody wanted to do that, Pete, how would they access it on YouTube?
So they go on YouTube and you search for Westfield Community Programming,
Oh, okay.
and all the Westfield Channel 15 shows show up.
Ah.
If you're looking for the radio shows, we had started a YouTube page previous, which is WSKB Community Radio. So there's 2 warehouses. One is for all the Channel 15 shows,
Okay.
and one is just for the community radio block.
Good to know. All right.
But there's
yeah.
a lot of programming up there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I got to get that in my newsletter. I'll put that in the August newsletter is done, but I'll put that in the September one on how people can access that, because we've started, you know, trying to get more and more information out there to people on how they can get their information online and live
Yeah.
streaming and cable and.
And we
so
launched a
forth.
Channel 15 community, Westfield Community Programming Facebook page too. So.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. So thank you to that. And then Harry, last week I texted him and I said, so by the way, are you doing anything, Thursday, July 23rd? And he graciously accepted my invitation to help us out at our malicious curbside ice cream splurge tomorrow, because I realized that this is going to be a really big deal and I'm going to really need a lot of help.
Yes.
And I have every staff member has an assignment. We are going to actually snake the cars through the parking lot, which is a little different than we do on our regular lunches, but it's the same as what we do for Brown Bag because we can get a lot more cars in the parking lot. So Harry is going to be over at the Malicious Ice Cream Truck with Joe Didi. So Harry is going to actually be the ice cream distributor. I said to him, Harry, who doesn't love the guy who's actually physically giving out the ice cream?
He should wear his
So-
350 shirt. That'd be funny.
Well, he absolutely can wear whatever he wants to wear. I'm just so happy that he's doing it because we are going to be hopping, rocking and rolling. I also want to thank Matt Garlow, who is the event sponsor. So he really stepped up to the plate. I believe that we will get a visit from Senator Velas. It's on his schedule because I need to have somebody to schmooze and occupy people while they're waiting in line, because it will be a bit of a wait. And also my dear husband, Gary Gorman, will be there helping us out again. So, it's going to be a party. It's really going to be a lot of fun.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I
thanks
did
to
some
everybody.
homework on the Northfield Drive-In while we were in the break.
Yes, good, great. Do
The
tell.
same family's been owned it since 1967. Is 71 years in business,
Wow.
and they believe it is the only drive-in to straddle 2 states,
Oh,
Massachusetts and New Hampshire.
very good.
And
Wow.
it has been featured in a movie called Cider House Rules.
I
There
saw
was-
Cider House Rules.
The 3 scenes of the drive-in were shot on Halloween Day,
Really?
on Halloween night at the Northfield Drive-In.
No
I knew that. I
kidding.
knew that fact
I did not know that.
because we covered that story when I worked at Channel 40,
Ah,
and we shot some
Okay.
stuff up in Northampton at the State Hospital when they were shooting
okay.
it up
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And then I remember them telling us that they were psyched about going to the Northfield Drive-In to shoot some scenes up there.
You know what? Now I have to go back and look at. I'm going to have to go rewatch Cider House Rules.
Yep. So
Yeah.
and the screen is 80 feet wide by 54 feet in height.
That's amazing.
And the original screen was destroyed by a hurricane in 51, they said.
Wow.
Yep.
Speaking of hurricanes, not to get too far off the subject because I do have to get back to my famous birthdays.
Yes.
But I was listening to a story on my way in, and these poor southern states, in addition to dealing with massive COVID outbreaks down there, they also now have to prepare for the hurricane season. And how do you shelter people
So
when you're
FEMA
trying to distance people?
Yeah, FEMA
Yeah.
and CDC have gotten together and they've issued a whole bunch of guidelines on that. They came out with those real early,
Yeah.
like in May, I think they've been
Yeah.
issuing guidelines for that. So yes, there's plans for that, but sometimes you may have to bite the
Yeah.
bullet, as it were, for the COVID part
Yeah.
to make sure everybody's safe in
Yep.
the hurricane. Because the hurricane doesn't care about COVID.
It doesn't. And
No.
of course, COVID doesn't really give a darn about the hurricane either. So
Right. So you have to figure it out.
You got to figure it out. But the best time to figure it out is now, not like when the hurricane is on its way and you've got 24 hours to figure out what you're going to do.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of people might bug out to other states and have perfectly fine with quarantining for 14 days.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's do some more birthdays. So it is the birthday, July 22nd, of Alan Menken, composer, songwriter, music conductor, music producer. He was born in 1949 in New Rochelle, New York. He's 71 years old today, and before the age of 50, composer Alan Menken had won 8 Academy Awards and 4 Grammys. Menken is best known for his scores and songs for films produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios. His scores and songs for The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Pocahontas have each won him 2 Academy Awards. He also composed the scores and songs for Little Shop of Horrors, Newsies, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Home on the Range, Enchanted, A Christmas Carol, and Sister Act. Menken's scores for the Walt Disney animated films of the 1990s, as well as his success on the Broadway stage, have some crediting him with the return of both genres. So happy birthday to Alan Menken. So this is one that I know Bob Plass would have been all over if this was on Bob's day. You know, he would have been playing like everything that this guy ever did. But his list of accomplishments and the songs he wrote it was just unbelievable. It was just pages and pages. Very, very talented guy. So happy birthday to Alan Menken. It is also the birthday, to bring it a little bit closer to home for some of our rock fans, it is also the birthday of Don Henley. Singer, songwriter, record producer, drummer. He was born this date in 1947 in Linden, Texas. He's 73 years old. Don Henley is a founding member of the rock group The Eagles. He was the drummer and co-lead vocalist for The Eagles from 1971 until the band broke up in 1980 and has reprised those duties for the group's reunions. Henley sang the lead vocals on Eagles hits such as Witchy Woman, Desperado, Best of My Love, One of These Nights, Hotel California, Life in the Fast Lane, The Long Run, and Get Over It. And that by no means is the complete list. That's just like the most popular ones. After the Eagles broke up in 1980, Henley pursued a solo career and released his debut album, I Can't Stand Still, in 1982. His solo hits include The Boys of Summer, The Heart of the Matter, The Last Worthless Evening, and The End of the Innocents.
See, I like Dirty Laundry.
Okay.
Because it's a newsy. It's talking about the news.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's like, he's another one. You know, there's so much on him. You could talk forever.
Yep.
Buster McMahon could do a whole show. The Eagles have sold over 150 million albums worldwide, won 6 Grammy Awards, had 5 number-one singles, 17 top 40 singles, and 6 number-one albums. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998 and are the highest-selling American band in history. As a solo artist, Henley has sold over 10 million albums worldwide, had 8 top 40 singles, won 2 Grammy Awards, and 5 MTV Video Music Awards. So there's a lot of talent in those two folks. So it's time to take a break. It is 6:46. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. And this one is in honor of the birthday of Alan Menken. So I decided we had to go to one of the Disney ones. And I'm going to take, this is just, I really love this song. I love the animation for this. So if you can pull this, you know, for those of you listening at home, later on, pull it up on YouTube and watch it. It's called Be Our Guest, and it's from the Disney movie Beauty and the Beast.
Ma chère mademoiselle, it is with deepest pride and greatest pleasure that we welcome you tonight. And now, we invite you to relax. Let us pull up a chair as the dining room proudly presents your dinner. Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test. Tie your napkin round your neck, chérie, and we provide the rest. Soup du jour, hot hors d'oeuvre. Why, we only live to serve. Try the gray stuff, it's delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes. They can sing, they can dance. After all, miss, this is France. And a dinner here is never second best. Go on, unfold your menu, take a glance, and then you'll be our guest. We our guest, be our guest. Beef ragout, cheese soufflé, pie and pudding on flambé. We'll prepare and serve with flair a culinary cabaret. You're alone and you're scared, but the banquet's all prepared. No one's gloomy or complaining, while the flatware's entertaining. We tell jokes, I do tricks with my fellow candlesticks.
Put it all in perfect taste that you can best.
Come on and lift your glass, you've won your own free pass to be our guest. If you're stressed, it's fine dining we suggest. Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest. Life is so unnerving for a servant who's not serving. He's not whole without a soul to wait upon. Ah, those good old days when we were useful. Suddenly those good old days are gone. 10 years we've been rusting, needing so much more than dusting, needing exercise, a chance to use our skills. Most days we just lay around the castle. Flabby, fat and lazy, you walked in and oops-a-daisy.
It's a guest, sakes alive that I'll be blessed. Wine's been poured and thank the Lord I've had the napkins freshly pressed. With dessert, she'll want tea, and my dear, that's fine with me. While the cups do their soft chewing, I'll be bubbling, I'll be brewing. I'll get warm, I've been hot. Heaven's sakes, is that a spot? Clean it up, we want the company impressed. We've got a lot to do. Is it 1 up or 2 for you, I guess? She's our guest.
Be our guest. Come back, so request. It's 10 years since we've had anybody dear, and we're obsessed with your meal, with your meals. Yes, indeed, we interpret. While the candlelight's still glowing, let us tell you we'll keep going.
Horse, one by one, till you shout.
Enough, I'm done.
Then we'll sing you off to sleep as you digest.
Tonight you'll prop your feet up, but for now let's heat up. Be our guest. Be our guest. Be our guest.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Join us every Thursday morning
From 6 until at least 7:30,
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show.
right here on WSKB 89.5.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and Pete Coles is in the studio with me this morning. And the second hour, we will be joined by phone by Renee Ricks. We're going to be talking all things yoga. Until then, we have some more birthdays to do. So,
Yes.
Pete, it is also the birthday of singer Bobby Sherman. And, you know, what's funny about this is wait until you hear the career switch that he made early on. So Bobby Sherman was born July 22nd, 1943 in Santa Monica, California. So he's 78 years old today, which I can't really even imagine what Bobby Sherman looks like at 78 because I still think of him as, you know, a kid.
Yep.
But he became a teen idol in the late 1960s and early 1970s. He had a series of successful singles, including Little Woman, Julie, Do You Love Me, Easy Come, Easy Go, and Jennifer. In early 1968, he was selected for the role of the bashful, stammering logger Jeremy Bolt in the ABC television series Here Come the Brides. Sherman was a guest star on television series such as Emergency, The Mod Squad, Ellery Queen, Murder, She Wrote, and Frasier. He's also been a guest on The Ed Sullivan Show, American Bandstand, The Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour, The Rosie O'Donnell Show, Good Morning America, and The Tonight Show with both Johnny Carson and then later Jay Leno. But Sherman retreated from his show business career in the 1970s for a career as a paramedic and a sheriff's officer, though he occasionally performed into the 1990s. So what a career switch from singer entertainment. I mean, he did a lot of television to a paramedic and a sheriff's officer. I thought that was kind of cool. So happy 78th birthday to Bobby Sherman. It is also the birthday today of game show host, philanthropist Alex Trebek. Alex Trebek was born July 22nd, 1940 in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. He is 80 years old today. I have to say, I can't believe that he's 80 and still hosting Jeopardy! In 1966, Alex Trebek decided to shift his focus from journalism to hosting game shows. He became the host of the Canadian quiz show Reach for the Top. His first American television gig was as host of the short-lived 1973 NBC game show The Wizard of Odds. In 1984, ABC tapped Trebek to host a game show by the famous creator of Wheel of Fortune, Merv Griffin. The show was a revival of a popular trivia competition called Jeopardy! Which aired from 1964 to 1975 in its first incarnation. Jeopardy! Employed a unique format in which clues were offered in the form of answers and contestants answered in the form of questions. Trebek's version of Jeopardy! Quickly became one of the most popular game shows in television history. And as its charismatic and unflappable host, Trebek became a pop culture icon, winning 5 Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Game Show Host over more than 3 decades on the air. So, Pete, one of my, COVID-19, sheltering at home things that I've been doing is I have been watching Jeopardy! Every night. So Grace and Gary are so great because a lot of times I don't get home from work that soon, but they record it for me and then we watch it together, sometime usually 8 or 8:30 and, try to answer the questions and so forth. Well, this week they're going into the vault. And so
Best of shows?
Well, the night before last, they aired the very first Jeopardy! Show, which was back in 1984, okay?
Yep.
With the first one that Alex Trebek hosted, because it was on and then it left and then they revived it 36 years ago with Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
So they had the very first show, which is, strange. You can imagine. I mean, Alex Trebek, 36 years ago. But, and Grace was absolutely hysterical laughing at the outfits because it was funny. But here's the thing that was so funny. Last night they aired the second show, so it was the first night. So last night they had the second show ever, 36 years ago. The second contestant was a female carpenter from West Springfield, Massachusetts.
That's funny.
It was hysterical. I said to Gary, "Oh my God, did he just say she's from West Springfield, Mass?" Go back, play it again. Well, sure enough. But here was the other thing.
She's still
that
there?
Was,
I wonder. Wonder if she's still living.
No, because they said she was originally from West Springfield, Massachusetts. And she was, she would still be living because she was young. I mean, she was probably in her 30s,
Okay.
So, but here was the thing. They all contestants bet all of their earnings, right? In Final Jeopardy, they all went for the moon.
Yep.
None of them got it. So second episode on air.
No winner.
They had no winner. Everybody was zero. So
That's
I
funny.
have to say though, Alex Trebek as the host, absolutely right from the first show, like he knew his rules. So right off the bat, he said, "Okay, no winner." The guy who had won the first night, he'll take home his winnings from the first night. So he said, that's good for them. The other 2 get consolation prizes, and we'll start with 3 new contestants, tomorrow night.
Yeah, sure.
He never missed a beat. But it was so funny because that first early show, there was Alex Trebek did a lot of talking, and the audience was, they would clap when somebody got the right answer, and Gary and I were like, "Hey, come on, we got to get this thing moving." And so it was really, although the format was the same,
Different kind of a quiz show.
it was very different, and it's really evolved over the years because the first 2 nights, I mean, they had like whole categories that they never got to, 10 and 12 questions that they never got to because it was slower moving just because there was chit chat in between. So kind of interesting. So happy 80th birthday to Alex Trebek. All right, we have a couple more birthdays before we take our top of the hour break. It is the birthday of actress Louise Fletcher. She was born July 22nd, 1934 in Birmingham, Alabama. She's 86 years old today. Fletcher had her acting debut in the television series 77 Sunset Strip. She guest starred in the television series Wagon Train, if you can remember that. That was back in the 50s, before making her film debut in A Gathering of Eagles in 1963. After a decade-long hiatus from acting, during which she raised a family, Fletcher appeared in the movie Thieves Like Us. The following year, Fletcher gained international recognition for her performance as Nurse Ratched in the drama film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That was in 1975, for which she won the Academy Award for Best Actress, BAFTA Award, which is the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, for Best Actress in a Leading Role, and Golden Globe Award for Best Actress. She became only the third actress ever to win an Academy Award, BAFTA Award, and Golden Globe Award for a single performance. The only two who had done it before her were Audrey Hepburn and Liza Minnelli. Later in her career, Louise Fletcher returned to television. She received Primetime Emmy Award nominations for her guest starring roles in the television series Picket Fences, that was back in 1996, and Joan of Arcadia, that was in 2004. So happy birthday to Nurse Ratched. And that's the role I think that she will be best remembered for. And then finally, it is the birthday of the late comedian actor Dan Rowan. Dan Rowan was born July 22nd, 1922 in Beggs, Oklahoma. He died September 22nd, 1987 at the age of 65. But I think this is so interesting when you start delving into people's backgrounds. So Dan Rowan was born on a carnival train. He toured with his parents who performed a singing and dancing act with the carnival. He was orphaned at age 11, taken in by a foster family, and at the age of 18, he hitchhiked to Los Angeles. He found a job in the mailroom at Paramount Pictures, quickly ingratiating himself with studio head Buddy DeSilva. A year later, he became Paramount's youngest staff writer. Dan Rowan served in World War II, and after his discharge, Rowan returned to California, where he teamed up with Dick Martin and started a comedy nightclub act. The team had appeared on television before, but it was not until the critical success of a summer special in 1967 that they found fame on Laugh-In. Laugh-In was an American sketch comedy television program that ran for 140 episodes from 1968 to 1973 on NBC. That was Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. Now, this I did not know. The title of the show was a play on the 1960s hippie culture love-ins, or the counterculture be-ins, terms that were derived from sit-ins that were common in protests associated with civil rights and anti-war demonstrations of the time. In 2002, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In was ranked number 42 on TV Guide's 50 Greatest TV Shows of All Time. So happy birthday to the late Dan Rowan. And they always made us laugh on Laugh-In. So it is 7:02. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses on WCPC Cable Channel 15. We'll take our top of the hour break.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:06. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm joined this morning in studio with our chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
Pete, you know what I wanted to ask you about Buster McMahon? Is he coming in to do his show, or is he zooming in for that?
He's coming in.
He's coming in. He's been coming in for that. And how's he doing? Is he doing okay through all this craziness?
Yeah, they went through a lot of evolving situations at Walgreens.
Yes.
Because he's a 24-hour store. He was the only one. And for a while, they were closed on the overnights.
Okay.
But now they're back open 24 hours a day. So he's the overnight manager every other week.
You know, I knew he worked at one of the pharmacies. I didn't know it was Walgreens.
Yeah, Walgreens at the X in Springfield.
Oh, at the X in Springfield. Okay, very good.
He's only been robbed at gunpoint once.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, well, yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Is our guest on the radio yet or no?
Yes.
Oh, she is. Oh, wow, that's perfect. Can you tune her in there?
Yep, I will pot her up now. There you go.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, Renee.
Good morning, Tina.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So is this bright and early for you?
It sure is. I'm up this time, but it's early to be doing something productive.
I'd like to do a phone interview this early in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, think of it this way, Renee. So I've been up since 4:15. Pete's probably been up since about the same. We've been on air for over an hour now. So, it's just,
wow, I didn't realize you started this early.
Yeah, we actually, the show actually starts at 6 to 8. So,
we're easing into our day.
Wow.
We are. So, Renee, I have this fabulous picture that I found of you that Pete put up on the screen so all our Channel 15 people can see.
I'm not sure if I believe you, but
no, it's great. It's a picture that I took a few years ago when I was doing a photo shoot for the Business and Industry edition of the Westfield News. And so I wanted to get in there and get some pictures of you and some of the folks doing yoga at the senior center.
Okay.
And I have some really nice pictures of you. And I actually like this because it's not just a headshot. It's actually you on your yoga mat with a big smile on your face. So I think it's just
great.
Yeah, you look you look fabulous.
I don't have a single picture of myself, so you'll have to send me a couple.
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. So, Renee, what I usually do when I start with a guest who's never been on the show before, and I'm interested in this myself because I know you as the yoga instructor for the senior center, but I really don't know anything about your background. So we're going to start with, where are you from, or did you grow up in Westfield, or did you come someplace else? What was your schooling like and your first job? And, I'm going to guess that when you were in third grade, you didn't, and your teacher said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm guessing that you did not say, I want to be a yoga instructor. So let's kind of talk about how you got to where you are today. So let's start with, where are you from originally? From this area or elsewhere?
No, I'm from East Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay.
I grew up there, graduated from high school there, graduated from UConn with a degree in rehabilitation services, and worked in human services, voc rehab, therapeutic recreation, and then after I got married, my husband's from Westfield. So we were living in Westfield. I decided to get an education degree, so went to Westfield State and did that. Did that for a short time. It wasn't for me at the time. And then we lived in Alexandria, Virginia for a while and started had our first child there, moved back to Westfield, had 2 more children. They're all grown now. My youngest will be 20 in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, and as far as
what were you doing down in Alexandria, Virginia? Did you work when you were down there, or was that starting family stuff?
I did. I taught high school special ed.
Oh, wow.
For part of the time.
Mm-hmm.
This was around 90. There was jobs were very hard to come by at that time. So
Yes.
I was job hunting for a couple of years, and then found that job, and then got pregnant, and started the family there, and decided we wanted to be back up here close to where both of our families were, between Connecticut and Massachusetts, once we started having kids. So we ended up, Ron got a job, my husband got a job in the school system here, and we've been here ever since.
Okay.
23 years.
So, it's interesting. I did not know that you had a rehab background. So my master's degree is in rehabilitation counseling.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
I know. And I didn't realize there was that connection as well. That's really interesting. So when you came back here, Renee, you now you have 3 children, and are now, is anybody still living at home, or have they all flown the coop? Or have they flown the coop and moved back?
Well, no, the 2 oldest, my son lives in Philadelphia, and my daughter's in Long Beach, California. My youngest son was in college in San Francisco, his first year of college, and had to come home in March.
Oh, boy.
So he's here. He's trying to figure out a way to move back to California and do online school in California, maybe in the LA area. So trying to figure all that out now in the next couple of weeks.
It was interesting. I was listening to a story on my way in on National Public Radio, and they were interviewing college students, actually just about the age of your son, because some of them were students who had, done 1 semester and then less than a half a semester before they were, sent home to shelter in place. And, they were taught, and they were also interviewing college administrators, and, so many of the colleges really are still up in the air about how they're going to proceed. So, you've got these students trying to make plans, and especially out-of-state students, and not really knowing. I can't even imagine your son trying to make this decision on, 3,000 miles away. I mean, it's not even like he's going to a school that's, within state. So, stressful.
He knows his school is totally online, at least for the fall.
Okay.
And, because it's part of the whole huge California state
Right. I was going to say, and I think California did make that decision, right? I think all of their schools are.
They made it early. They made it in April.
Smart.
Yeah. So, but he doesn't want to. Who wants to do college sitting in your bedroom?
I know, right?
It's like I hope he can figure out a way to go at least be in a different environment if he's got to do the online. And I think he's going to take 3 classes and work, and hopefully the spring brings better times.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly. That's all you can do. So, Renee, when you moved back to the Westfield area, were you working when I know you were raising a family too. Now, were you working at all outside of the home?
So I was doing, not at first. Because when we moved here, I had my second child. My daughter was born when we moved here, like 2 months after we moved here. So she was just a newborn. And then, I did a lot of volunteer work, different social service agencies. And then when my daughter was in kindergarten and my youngest son was 3, I started doing some stuff at the Y, which is kind of a fun story. How my first yoga teaching experience was at the Y. I started taking a class with our now veterans director, Julie Barnes.
Okay.
She was teaching a class called Yoga Ball at the Y. So I started taking her class when my son was 3. I put him in the daycare at the Y, and after about 6 months, she asked me if I would sub for her. So I started subbing for her, and then she decided to leave the Y, and I ended up doing the little certification to take that class over from her. So I thought that was kind of a fun connection.
You know, the things you learn on this radio show, who knew? Because I know that when Julie took over as Director of Veteran Services for the city of Westfield a couple of years ago, and you were doing some yoga classes at the Senior Center, that periodically she would jump in and take one of your classes. Yeah. But I I just had no idea that she used to teach the class, or that you two knew each other from before. I think I think that's just hysterical. What a great story. Because
so that was 17 years ago.
Oh my goodness. And the YMCA. I mean, it all comes together because, of course, you know, we talk about Harry Rock on the show all the time, and now Julie's at the Senior Center because Veteran Services is located in our building. You know, it's just like one big family.
Yeah.
So that's how. So that was actually the introduction of yoga. That was kind of how you started.
Yeah, I had dabbled back in the 80s, even before we moved to the D.C. area, just taking a class here and there.
Okay.
And, you know, it was always, but I never was able to commit because my husband was a workaholic. You know, I had 3 kids and just, you know, was never able to really commit to anything.
Yeah.
So after that Y teaching, that was brief, maybe a year and a half. When my son went to kindergarten, I started working for Domus here in Westfield.
Yep.
So I worked there managing one of the properties for 9 years. And probably halfway through that time, what was I going to say? So while I was at Domus, a woman moved into the building, and this is a very sweet story. Her name was Stella. She was 92, and we became like best friends, like so quickly.
Okay.
Would visit her every day, and we would talk about everything. And she passed away she was probably there for 2 years.
Okay.
And she, a couple weeks after she died, her nephew, who also became a friend, he came over and he had a check for me for $1,000. And he said, Stella wants you to have this to put towards your yoga teacher training so that you can be a yoga teacher.
Wow.
And it just, I was so surprised. It was just so sweet. So that was really like my push to do the full yoga teacher training. And at the time, I had gone back to the Y after being away for maybe 8 years and was taking yoga classes at the Y. And one of the teachers has a yoga studio and did yoga teacher training, and then this whole thing with Stella with the check, and I was like, okay.
And it just
I'm gonna finally do it.
It just all came together. So we're gonna take a pause there because that's just really a great lead into how you started the whole yoga thing. We're going to take a short break, a music break. And, you know, I try to have my music usually relates in some way to the show and to maybe somebody who has a famous birthday on that day. So for this particular number, I found a song. Have you ever heard of this song? It's by Elvis Presley. It's called Yoga Is As Yoga Does. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't think so.
Well, listen, I am really proud of myself because I found a yoga song. Who knew, right? A yoga song. Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a listen. This is Elvis Presley. It is 7:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My guest this morning is Renee Ricks. We're talking all about yoga, and we're going to listen to Elvis sing about yoga.
Well, I can see that you and yoga will never do. Yoga is as yoga does. There's no in between. You're either with it on the ball or you've blown the scene. I can see looking at you, you just can't get settled. How can I even move, twisted like a pretzel?
Yoga is as yoga does, there's no in between. You're either with it all the way,
or you've blown the scene.
or you've blown the scene.
Come on, I twist my legs, pull my arms a lot. How did I get so tied up in this yoga knot? You tell me just how I can take this yoga serious, when all it ever gives to me is a pain in my posteriors.
Yoga is as yoga does, there's no in between. You're either with it all the way,
Or you've blown the scene.
or you've blown the scene.
Stand upside down on your head, feet against the wall. A simple yoga exercise done by one and all. Now cross your eyes and hold your breath, look just like a clown. Yoga's sure to catch you if you come falling down.
Yoga is as yoga does, there's no in between. You're either with it all the way,
Or you've blown the scene.
or you've blown the scene. Yoga is as yoga does, there's no in between. You're either with it all the way,
Or you've blown the scene.
or you've blown the scene.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:22. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. Pete Coles is here in the studio with me, and on the phone we have our guest this morning, Renee Ricks, who is a local yoga instructor. So, Renee, are you still there?
I am.
Okay,
what
so
a great song.
Isn't it a great
I
song?
loved
So
it.
now that we've listened to what yoga is via Elvis Presley style, I'm going to ask you, and now that we've gotten you in your career, we kind of got a little bit of your background and how you ended up with this $1,000 check from Stella to go get your yoga training. So now let's talk about what exactly is yoga. Let's start there.
So, in the Elvis song, he was talking about standing on your head. Yoga is, you don't have to stand on your head in yoga. Let
Yes,
me
thanks
just say that
for
first.
clarifying that.
Okay. So yoga can be a whole lifestyle. It can be, the physical practice of the physical exercise, the poses. It can be a spiritual practice. It can be, how you live your life, encompassing everything, what you eat, how you speak, how you act. But here in the West, when we think of yoga, we think of the physical practice of yoga, and a lot of times people think of meditation and mindfulness also along with yoga, and breathing practices, which are all part of the style of hatha yoga, which is a general term for yoga which involves movement of the body and working with the breath, as opposed to there's like karma yoga, which is like the yoga of service, There's bhakti yoga, which is the yoga of devotion, which would be like chanting and more spiritual practices.
Okay.
And within hatha yoga, the general moving and breathing yoga, there's all sorts of different styles. You've probably heard of hot yoga, and Bikram is hot. Ashtanga, it's like power yoga. There's restorative yoga. There's yin yoga. I think there's 8 or 11 different styles, you know, that just different branches that different teachers. Here, Kripalu Yoga, we have the Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health in West Stockbridge, not far away, which is one of the largest yoga centers in the world. It's world renowned. Which is,
I've heard of it.
In our backyard. So at the time when I started my yoga teacher training, I also started volunteering at Kripalu. Every Friday, I've been doing that until the pandemic, so about 6 years now. So Kripalu, the word Kripalu means compassion.
Okay.
So the Kripalu style of yoga is really, that's the basis of the practice. So it's self-compassion, compassion for others, and moving in a way, you know, that honors that. So that's the style that I gravitate to. After taking lots of classes there and doing additional training there, I did my yoga dance teacher certification at Kripalu and yoga dance for special populations. So that kind of did the certification 3 years in a row, 2015, 16, and 17.
Yeah.
So yeah, here in the West, and Elvis was singing about it in the 50s, but really in the 60s, the Beatles kind of brought kind of awareness to yoga here in the United States.
Okay.
Yoga and meditation and all of that. So yeah, we definitely here focus more on the physical practice of yoga.
And so when you get into the physical practice of yoga, I have actually never done yoga myself. So can you kind of describe what it would be like for people? And then I want to talk about, you know, kind of who could do this or not.
Okay. So, well, first of all, every single person can do yoga, no matter what your physical abilities are, because we make the poses work for your body, not your body works to the poses.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Right. So, you know, on mat yoga, people do practice on the floor. So just having the ability to get on the floor and be able to get back up, which I tell people all the time, if you're able to do that, even if it's difficult, like, keep doing that.
Yes.
Make that part of your practice, is getting on the floor. And I also teach different ways to get up and down off the floor.
Absolutely.
People.
I don't, you know what, Renee, that sounds like a simple concept, but I don't know if some of our listeners are aware that there are certain ways that are much easier to get up when you're on the floor than other ways. Whether you got down on the floor on purpose or not, you know, and in some cases it might not have been if not, but there are definitely ways to do it that are safe and actually much easier than other ways.
Yes, definitely. And then, you know, for people that absolutely cannot get on the floor, if you're in a wheelchair or have any other reason why you can't be on the floor, chair yoga is a great option.
Yeah.
Which we offer at the senior center.
Yeah.
You get the same, you know, you get the same benefits. So it's really about being present. We really connect the breath with the movement.
Okay.
So when we focus on our breath, it gives us focus. It keeps us in the moment. It kind of anchors the mind from one. You know, our minds are like all over the place all the time.
Yeah.
Thinking, worrying about what's going to happen, thinking about the past. So a big benefit of yoga is that relaxation, that calming the mind, connecting with the breath, and just, being in the moment. Maybe it's, I'm sitting outside right now, just, taking that moment to sit and look at your surroundings and breathe, feel, notice your senses. How does my skin feel? What am I smelling? What am I seeing? Listening to the birds. So all those mindfulness kind of, and it doesn't have to be long to take that pause.
Yep.
At different times during your day, and just not have a phone or a book or, the TV on, just, being quiet and present with just kind of connecting with yourself and your breath and smiling. So I kind of have this is like Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Buddhist teacher. He does all these, talks about smiling meditations a lot. And I am a big proponent of that, by just bringing an inner smile or a gentle smile and just sitting quiet. It can change your whole mindset. It can change your whole day.
I'm sure.
Because if you're smiling, your brain thinks that you're happy. So in turn, it'll make you think about, be grateful for, appreciate, people in your life, circumstances in your life, your home, whatever.
Yep.
So it's a really powerful tool to get yourself feeling happier, feeling more content.
What a great way to really think about all of this. That's just something that I never thought about, but just sort of the act of smiling as you're going through this. Yeah, I think it would just sort of force you to start thinking about good things, happy things, putting more of a positive spin on life, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, I've challenged my students. So I said, when you first wake up in the morning, before you even open your eyes, just bring a smile. Just bring a little smile to your lips and just see see where your mind goes. And it's kind of an experiment. So we've all been doing this experiment, and it's been very well,
sort of well received.
Well received.
Well, you know what? I'm right in there. I'm going to try that starting tomorrow morning. I'm not going to try. I'm going to do it. So starting tomorrow morning. So when I wake up, keep my eyes closed, start smiling, and then just sort of let your mind go to the smile, I guess, really.
Yes, and just see what happens. So everyone out there, it's a simple, easy thing everybody can try.
Right, absolutely. You don't need any training for this. All right, that's a great way to kind of segue in. We're going to take a short break, take a little breath. It is 7:32. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. If you're just joining us, my guest is Renee Ricks. We're talking all about yoga. And this song is, I chose, this is a Don Henley song in honor of his birthday. It's by the Eagles, but it's Tequila Sunrise. And I kind of chose this one because when I think of yoga, that's what I think of. I think of, people on the beach and the sun rising and just sort of, getting back to nature and calming and so forth. So we're going to listen to this and we'll be back with
Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Saturdays were made for polka. Tune in to the Polka Jammer Network starting at 6 a.m. and Polka Hall of Famer Billy Bellina, Breakfast at BB at 8:30.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:37. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. And on the phone, we have our guest this morning, Renee Ricks. Renee is a local yoga instructor, so we're sort of talking all things yoga. Good morning again, Renee.
Good morning. So I want to say one
sure.
more thing before I really talk about the physical part.
Perfect.
And that's the aspect of compassion. So we really, as yoga teachers, most of us, I think, talk about self-compassion, compassion for others, non-judgment, just accepting your body, how it is in that day. Every day we kind of come in with a different body, maybe you have a different ache or different pain, or balance is better some days than others. So just, not comparing ourselves to the person next to us. Everybody's body is proportioned differently, so every body looks different in the poses, in the positions. So it's really, really stressing that self-acceptance, just kind of thinking and feeling in your own body and not, trying to look like the teacher or your neighbor, and, just really feeling that acceptance of yourself and gratitude for what you can do.
So very individualistic.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think in that way it makes it a little different than a typical exercise class.
Yep.
Because we talk about those things in yoga, and we want I want people to feel good, to feel good emotionally, mentally, and physically. It's really a complete experience, not just the physical body, but social, emotional, and it can be spiritual. It doesn't have to be. Most people come to yoga because they want to, get some exercise, which is great. And it can stay right there, or some people, take it further and, get other things out of it. And again, everybody's in a different place, and everything is accepted and welcomed, whatever your intention is for class.
You know what, Renee, let's break it down a little bit. So let's start with what are for those who have never done yoga and maybe are thinking about it or just trying to learn about it, let's start with what are some of the physical benefits of yoga?
Okay, physical benefits would be joint mobility, so moving all of your joints in all the directions that they're able to move is a big one.
Okay.
Balance, we definitely work on balance, which is very important. Some strengthening exercises. I'll say stretching, but I want to say one thing. Definitely stretching. I just want to say something about flexibility. I don't know how many people have said to me, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible.
I bet you hear that all the time.
I hear that all the time, and it's the biggest misconception out there. There is no need to be flexible to do yoga.
Okay.
Actually, having too much flexibility is actually detrimental, because it's easy to hurt yourself because you can overstretch.
Yeah.
People that have, some of us have certain joints that are looser than others, and so can, getting these positions, and you can get hurt.
Okay.
But on the other hand, if you're very stiff and you're not moving much, you definitely will gain flexibility, which is a good thing.
Okay.
So, also, it's good for digestion. It's good for the nervous system. It's soothing to the nervous system, that connection with the movement and the breath. It's great for our lungs, thinking about that, especially during these times.
Yes.
The breathing practices. So often in regular life, we only use, the top portion of our lungs. But when we're consciously, intentionally breathing and taking deep breaths and really filling our lungs, we stretch all those little muscles around the rib cage that enables our lungs to fully inflate. because if people don't do that, you'll lose the ability to be able to really take a full deep breath. So then if you're ill and you need to do that, then your breath is restricted because
right.
it's not used to being used.
Right.
So so that's a very big physical benefit as well.
So Renee, for someone who has never participated in a yoga class or maybe has never seen other than, a few poses, can you kind of explain, I mean, is some of it done sitting on the mat? Is some of it done lying down, or how does that work?
Yep, we do sitting on the floor. I'm a big proponent of props of any kind, cushions. We use yoga blocks, but at home you can use cushions or even books, something to sit on so that I'd say the hardest, most difficult part about yoga is sitting on the floor.
Okay.
Because it's really hard for most people to sit right on the floor and be able to sit up nice and tall and maintain the natural curves of the spine. Just because, so we always, at the senior center, we always sit on blocks. And people at home, I always say, sit on something. You kind of want your hips above your knees.
Okay.
And sometimes we won't even sit much because, like I said, it's kind of the hardest position to be in. But we will lie on the floor on our backs. We'll lie on the floor on our bellies. And we also do standing poses. So we moved, in all those different levels. Sometimes we'll start standing and make our way down. Sometimes we'll start on the floor and then make our way up and come back down. We always end at the end of class on the floor on our backs with a relaxation called Shavasana, which kind of brings everything that we've done physically, kind of lets the body incorporate, everything we've done, and it's very relaxing and just kind of brings it all together at the end.
So, it sounds, Renee, just kind of I'm coming back to sort of some of almost the spiritual side of yoga. I just feel like there's something in there. Is yoga tied into religion or meditation? I mean, you mentioned meditation before, but is there sort of that component? I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, it can definitely be a spiritual practice. It's not connected with any one religion.
Certain
like
religion.
you don't have to be. You don't have to be. You don't have to practice Hinduism or
right.
So people of all different religions practice yoga. There's no dogma connected to it.
Okay.
The spiritual part is, it's more about the love, compassion, acceptance, that kind of, which is universal in all religions, basically.
Right.
There are out there Christian, specifically Christian yoga classes.
No
kidding. There are 12-step yoga classes. I mean, you can find, all kinds of different classes that are more specific. There are the poses are all, the language of Sanskrit was, it's not spoken anymore, but in yoga, like the chanting is in Sanskrit and the poses all have Sanskrit names.
Okay.
Yoga started like over 2,000 years ago, so it's got a long lineage, and there are a lot of the poses are named after deities from Hinduism, but there's no, it's not religion at all.
And what would you say are, we've talked a little bit about the physicality and we've talked about, balance and strengthening and things like that. What about the emotional benefits?
Well, the emotional benefits, just the connection with other people, the social-emotional of, practicing with other people is one. Just the relaxation, calming the mind, just feeling that sense of peace.
Yeah.
is a big emotional benefit. I like to do some self-massage and some hand positions. Even if you place your hands, both your hands over your chest, over your heart, and you just close your eyes and you breathe. You feel your breath. It's just soothing. Soothing for the soul.
Just kind of a calming effect. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a short break. It is 7:47. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My guest this morning is Renee Ricks, a local yoga instructor. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can do yoga, and especially during the pandemic and COVID. We're going to talk about some Zoom sessions that Renee's doing and some cable channel 15 sessions that she'll be doing. So we will be back. We're going to listen to Bobby Sherman singing Easy Come, Easy Go. We'll be back.
Taking the shade out of the sun. Whatever made me think that I was number one? I ought to know. Easy come, easy go. I'm sitting it out. Now I'm spinning the dial. Just thinking about the chump I've been. I have to smile. Didn't I know? Easy come and easy go. She wasn't kind, I wasn't smart. I lost my mind and fell apart. I had to find myself in time. Now I can start all over again, just hanging around, taking it slow. So happy I found I still can't smile and dig the show. Let me know. Easy come, easy go. She wasn't kind, I wasn't smart. I lost my mind, I fell apart. I had to find myself in time. Now I can start all over again, hanging around, taking it slow. So happy I found I still can't smile and dig the show. Let me know. Easy come and easy go. Hanging around, just taking it slow. So happy I found I still can't smile and dig the show. Let me know. Easy come and easy go. Hanging around, oh, taking it slow.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. And on the line, we have Renee Ricks, who is a local yoga instructor. So welcome again, Renee.
Thank you.
So Renee, we are, we've mentioned the senior center. So I should say that when the senior center was open to the public, which it is not right now, but Renee was doing several yoga classes a week, and you were, when I went back, Renee, and I was trying to find some old emails and trying to figure out when we started offering yoga at the senior center, and I didn't realize that we started as early on as we did. We opened in October of 2015, but we started offering yoga like either January or February of 2016.
Right after the new year.
It was kind of like right out of the gate. So we've actually been offering it for quite a while, and I think we started with one yoga class, which is typically how we start things, very slowly, and then that's kind of grown, and you certainly have your following there. And of course, now we are dealing with a pandemic, with COVID, with a closed senior center, with people sheltering at home. And, our governor is still saying, especially for our older adults, that they are safer at home. So that's the mandate that we've been following. So let's talk a little bit about how people can do yoga at home with you. I'm going to start by just doing a commercial for the Senior Center and for Cable Channel 15, because we have been offering, as the pandemic has gone on, we've tried to offer more and more of our regular fitness programs on Channel 15, and you can also live stream those for those who don't have cable. You can do it on your computer. Renee had contacted me a month ago and said, that she would certainly be willing to come into the studio to tape a session so that we can add yoga to our repertoire. So I'm excited to say that beginning in August, we will be offering Renee's yoga class on Channel 15 on Friday afternoons. And we're adding Sunday mornings. We have not done anything on the weekend. So Renee, this will be a first for us of doing some senior center programming on the weekend. So that will be in the August newsletter, which will come out on Saturday, which I can't believe we're back to that. My family thinks all I do on my job is, they think all I do is write newsletters because I'm just barely finishing with one and they go by really quickly. But I also know, Renee, you're doing some Zoom yoga sessions. So tell us a little bit about that in case we have listeners who would like to join you.
Yeah, early in May, I started doing some Zoom classes from home. I'm doing a regular yoga class. I'm doing a relaxation yoga in the evening. I'm doing a yoga dance. I was doing a chair. I might bring that back. I kind of put that on hold for a while. It was kind of like a combination regular chair, yoga dance. Which I'll probably bring back in September. I'm going to be taking a couple weeks off, but the Zoom classes they've been going pretty well. It's been fun because people are connecting, on the Zoom call, checking in with each other, and they were so happy to see each other, the people that are participating.
Yep.
So that's been nice.
And so if somebody wanted to do that, Renee, how would they join your Zoom class?
So they can, people can contact me by email. It's Renee Rix, RENEERIX 63 @gmail.com.
Okay.
If you're interested, I send out a weekly email with my classes, and then the day before the Zoom class, I send a link out through email.
Yep.
It's really easy to do the Zoom classes. You just click on the link and you join with video, and you should get right in. I guess you need to have a Zoom app on your computer. I think that's the only other step involved.
Okay.
But
and I think, and just for so folks know, if you didn't get Renee's email address, I did add that to the newsletter article that I put in there in August, Renee. So I do have an article in the Voice of Experience newsletter, which, as I said, will come out on Saturday, about the yoga classes that will be on Channel 15 for those of you who would like to join in and do yoga, try it out. I think this is just a great opportunity. The thing that I think is so beneficial about the Channel 15 programming that we're doing with all of our fitness instructors is that it's giving people an opportunity to try things out in the shelter and comfort of their own home.
Yeah,
So for
I was
those,
just gonna
because
say
there
that,
are
yeah.
there are people that are, you know, still sort of hung up on, I don't think I can do this, or I'm not sure what I
don't know
look
if I
like.
can do it.
Right. I'm
yeah.
embarrassed. I
Exactly.
don't
was
want
gonna
to. I
say
don't want to
that.
be in a group. Yeah. So we have actually had, as people are coming through our curbside meal pickup at lunchtime, we are getting more and more feedback from people who are saying that they're using the Channel 15 programming, fitness programming through the senior center. And in some cases, Renee, there are people who never did fitness classes at the senior center, but they sort of feel like, well, I can do this in my house and nobody's watching me.
Nobody
So
can see me.
if I
Yeah.
mess it up or whatever, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But we are really starting to get a lot of positive feedback from people who said they're feeling better. They're able to do more of some of whatever the exercises
Yeah.
are. So I'm really excited about adding yoga to that list. You know, it's sort of this growing list that we're compiling.
Mhm.
And of course, you know, Pete Coles we are so lucky to have Pete as our city's media systems specialist to be able to pull all this together. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That is a great benefit of being at home, and also at home. You know, I encourage people to use, you know, get your pillows out, and, you know, like you can really get yourself comfortable. You can use furniture, like you lay on your back on the floor and put your legs up on your couch. It so releases the low back. It's so relaxing. You know, people are on carpeting, you know, with a
Yes.
mat. So
Yeah.
you know, the only thing, of course, when you're at home, when you're not with a teacher, is you have to, you know, you have to modify yourself. You have to, you know, listen to your own body and make sure you're safe and, you know, not doing anything that's not good for your body. So
Right.
it takes a little more, you know, awareness of yourself without a teacher.
Yep. But you know what? But as you pointed out at the beginning, so we're going to come full circle as we wrap this up, is that yoga is really about, you know, being present with your own body, being comfortable with your own body. So I think, you know, to me, it just sounds like the more you do it, whether it's at home or wherever, is that you are becoming more tuned. And so, you know, and it is so individualistic. So I think it, you know, in some respects, it kind of lends itself to doing it while you shelter in place. And also, you know, Pete and I have been talking about some of the silver linings of you know, the idea of either quarantining or just, you know, sheltering in place, safer at home and all that is, you know, you do kind of go back to some basics. You just get back to some of the basics of life. You know, what's important? It's family, it's your home, and, you know, just kind of becoming at peace with yourself. So I think this is, it's timely. Renee, we're going to have to wrap this up. I've got Harry Rock right on my tail over here. His show is coming on. I want to thank you for joining us. Again, the article on the yoga at the senior center will be in the August edition of the Voice of Experience newsletter. So please read it. Please try it out. You've gotten me really excited about this, Renee. So now that I have a better understanding of it, I want to try it out myself. So folks, my new tagline, I've been saying this for months, but Joe Rouse, when I met with Joe last week at the senior center, the director of health, he said, Tina, that's a great tagline, which is, you know, during this pandemic, stay physically distant, but socially connected. And on that note, Harry Rock is right behind me. Have a good week.
Support